just wanted to do like a follow-up video. Like I did a review of the Wacom 24-inch Pro Cintiq that just came out, and I finally got like my third-party DIY adapter, and so I just wanted to show people what I did to get the Wacom mounted, and I wanted to do this video also because there's also questions of like uh, durability and safety and uh, is it gonna are these things gonna break if you're doing it yourself or are you buying something third party and kind of just showing I want to show like how mine's working out so far. I've been using it for 2-3 weeks so far, not a long time, but I've done a couple started one project like couple or did a few projects or two projects and started another one and yeah, so like there's a yeah, because I mean, if you are looking at this video and you don't know uh, this new line of Wacoms, this one and what will be the 32 that'll come out, uh, the Wacom deliberately made it so that you couldn't not only just use a normal VESA adapter, but no VESA adapter in existence is compatible with this product. So your options are wait for their stand to come out, which bad on them. Like this unit should have shipped also alongside with a mounting monitor, like a mount, but it doesn't, and so you have to wait for theirs, which doesn't come out still for like a few more months, and this has already been out for about a month now, a month and a half. So you got to either wait for their stand, which is actually a really good stand, and if you have the room for it on your desk, I would say that it's a very good option to go with because it's so sturdy and it's meant to be drawn on as opposed to some of the other like stuff like an Ergotron arm, which they're still good for that. I'll get into that as part of like what my setup is, but yeah, those are designed to where you can actually lean your full body weight on them and they won't wobble. They're really nice. Are they worth the price? Maybe. I don't know. I don't. I can't say for sure on that. They're honestly they're not much more expensive than this HX arm. Um, but I personally don't have the desk space to do that. Plus, I have like a dual monitor setup, and these are large monitors, and I have a very small desk, so I don't have that option. I had to go with an Ergotron arm, and I have it like mounted on this little like IKEA thing that I had to put in between my desks. And yeah, so this is my setup. I just got like this. I got the HX arm, which supports the most weight of any of the Ergotron arms. It's a really nice arm. I would recommend this over this is the LX because they're basically the same arm except it supports more weight. It does cost more money. So if budget's an option, if you have the 24-inch version, um, and budget's an issue, it is about an $80 difference. But I would still like if you're spending this much money on this device, like even with the 24, I would still go with this just for the purpose of um, when you're the HX arm is supports more weight and it's stiffer. So if you're someone, especially if you're someone who either presses hard on the screen or if you lean a little bit, if you're like a leaner, then the HX one's going to support more weight, and like that's in my opinion why I would go with that over the LX model is because yeah, they can both support the monitor and it won't move it all by itself, and you can adjust them. But if you're just putting that little extra pressure, and you'd be surprised with how little of force like just like pressing down with the pen is, like how much weight that is. Like I mean, just think about it. If you lift up like you don't think of a gallon of milk as weighing much. You could lift it up with a pinky really easily, right? But a gallon of milk actually weighs about 10 pounds. And then the difference between the HX and the LX is the LX is about 25 pounds of support, and then the HX is 40 pounds. So that's basically a little bit more than a gallon of milk right there. Like just think of like the difference between pushing around and lifting around just like a single gallon of milk and or like a jug of water or whatever. I don't know if you're in the UK, 2 liters is a gallon. I don't know what the exact conversion is for that, but the point is it's that amount of weight is lighter than you think, and that extra 15 pounds of weight for you to lean your hand on or your arm is great. But I'm a lot of people get past that. Uh, Most people are here for the like, well, what did I do? I uh, I went through a third party guy who made his own. I could honestly make something like this myself, but it would take a lot of time and be really frustrating. Honestly, probably like the most frustrating thing I've ever done in art related in my life is mounting artwork, traditional artwork in an actual frame, like mounting it on a piece of paper and stuff. Like I never want to go through experiences like that again. I hated that so much. Um, yeah, and this would be like a similar thing where I'd probably like fail on like 3 of these things before like getting the measurements right and like getting it cut right. So I just went on. I got this guy is located in Germany, so if you're in the UK, you could probably get it shipped to you quicker if you use this guy. There's other guys I've seen with similar setups in the US. You could get through them. These are all like DIY, do-it-yourself things, and so you might have to wait a while for them to make it, and it's going to be a little more expensive than you would if you bought like something similar through a company. And yeah, this one was real nice, and yeah, it worked. This is working out really well for me. It's made out of plexiglass, which some people have like, like the question of like, well, like how durable is it? Like, because plexiglass is supposed to be like some people are saying it's fragile, which is that's true and not true at the same time. I'll explain that. But yeah, I mean, this one it probably doesn't look as nice here, right, as it does in the picture. That's because there's this thin layer of like a plastic sheet that it has like all these symbols on it that I just left on in case like it does have an issue of like microfracturing and spider webbing. I just left that on. That's a little extra layer of protection. I'm not too worried about that, but if you are, yeah, like I I can't say for sure like if it's gonna last long term like plexiglass. It should be fine. Like I had doubts, but like if you go to like a Costco or a Best Buy and go in, you're gonna see like half of the mounting things for TVs are made out of plexiglass of like the same thickness. So if you want to, I would recommend just going into a Costco or Best Buy before if you were trying to do buy a DIY like this, and then just kind of go in and knocking on it, bend it. If if no one's looking, like, and it's a separate piece, maybe put it on your knee, and like they're pretty damn durable and they're more flexible. Like I can like bend it like this, and it's supposedly like there's a lot of worries of like, oh, is it just gonna like snap if it flexes a little bit, or is it gonna like fracture? And yeah, I don't know. Like no one's used these long term for um, mounting stuff like this, as far as I know. So maybe it will fracture long term. Lawrence Mann had like he was one of the ones who raised concerns over this. If you saw his video, he's saying that there's going to be one like a metal one that's coming out in like a few months or whatever. And so yeah, if you're worried about that, I would if you can wait, go ahead and wait for that. Like a metal, obviously like a thick steel or something would be better than this. But the way I'm looking at it is this isn't going to break in a couple of months, and even if I only use this until if I decide to buy the other one, I still can. And I'm looking at it as if you already have one of these, I would recommend just buying a cheap setup like that, and for now, and look at it as, hey, I'm renting this thing, so I can for the next 2-3 months, I don't have to like hurt my back leaning over on my desk or off to like for me, I had to like lean over and off to the side like this. So it's like, do you want to do that is it worth it for you to spend if you anywhere like if you made it from yourself, you might spend $20. If you bought it from here and shipped it overseas, you'd be spending as much as 90. But let's just say the max. Let's say you spend $90. is it worth it for you to rent for 3 months to look at it as I'm going to rent this way to mount my Cintiq so that I can work for 3 months without hurting my back and comfortable and adjust my thing freely, like any position you want. I can stand up, I can lean off to the side, whatever. Is that worth it for you for like $30 a month for the next 3 months, or do you really want to wait 3 months for a better mount that's gonna come out? Like, uh, yeah, in that same video, like I saw, or I'm seeing in comments and stuff, like people worried about it breaking, but like realistically, the worst case scenario is it's not injuries. No one's going to get injured off of this breaking. The worst, obviously, is that your Cintiq is going to break. Like if I just left it like this overnight, not sitting over my desk, and then it happened to break overnight in multiple places at once, which is basically impossible. Like if it's going to break, it's going to break in one spot, then another. It's not going to fall off without you like knowing that it's already starting to break. Once one or two spots break, you're going to have time to at least unmount it and just again like so the worst case scenario is realistically the worst case scenario is you wasted $90 and you're gonna have to buy another like mount like one that's like steel when one comes out as a mounting alternative. But like if this does like pop off, like yeah, this arm is strong. Like if you were like hunching over it like this and it popped off, that would hit you in the face. But that's the only way you get injured from that. You won't get injured like that. The only injury you could possibly get is if it fell off and you had it like over here, not over the desk like this, but if you had it just drifting in the air and then it fell off and it fell on your foot and it like broke your toe or something. That's like the about the worst could have happened. But realistically, that wouldn't even happen. You would if you were actually working on it and it broke while you're working on it, then you it would like fly off and you like catch it and you'd panic and you like try and save your thing. Maybe you could save it, maybe you wouldn't. Maybe they would fall and the screen would crack. But yeah, that's like the worst case scenarios. You might break a toe. If you're worried about that, wait for the metal one. Yeah, again, like yeah, like he didn't go into a lot of details, but the only other besides like people just making ones out of like plexiglass or like a thick plastic or like I've seen one made out of wood. That one could splinter really easy. I would think like some people have this plexiglass with a sheet of aluminum like also, and that would be pretty good. I saw one just with aluminum, but that's like it was like a real thin sheet. So if there is like a metal one like he's talking about, I don't know. He made it sound like it'd be one that would kind of wrap around like the Dell one with holes in it, and that would be nice because one issue with this, if you are wondering, is like the only issue I have is uh, if I do over time, like eventually these cables, I have them routed through the Ergotron arm, but eventually like one of these cables is gonna come loose or pop out, right? Like just by just like moving it back and forth, probably. I'm assuming. And then when that happens, because this covers it completely, the only way I'm going to be able to plug in the cable back in, so I can actually get like an image on my screen, would be to completely unmount it. And there's one part of the mounting process with this one specifically where it's really hard by yourself, because I did it by myself. But you can do it by yourself. I did it by myself with no help. And but that would be really annoying if the cable comes unplugged, and if the one that Lawrence Mann was talking about with if it has holes like the Dell one does, like the official Dell one, that would be really nice because then if the cables come unplugged, you can just read through the holes and plug them in. And then again, yeah, steel would be nicer, but if you're gonna, do you really want to wait 3 more months? You got this awesome new Cintiq, like you want to use it, right? So do you want to hurt your back for 3 months, or do you want to do that? I personally, I'll just get this, and like I said, like if this does break, then fine, I'll buy that. I'll probably wait until it starts to crack to get the other one, even if there is one at this point, because I just don't even like unmounting it and mounting it on like a better one. Like I don't even want to deal with that right now. But um, yeah, like if you're concerned about like a child doing it and popping, no, there's no way that that could hit someone in the face unless they were like purposely trying to like hit themselves in the face. Like if it comes off the arm's gonna come off in the back, and then this might fall on you. That or like this will be in between you and the arm, so that it wouldn't be possible for the arm to hit you in the face. Um, like I said, the worst case scenario for me would be like if it like he was saying, like if it broke in the middle of the night, like if you like left it off your if you have a setup where it's not fitting on like a table, like for me when I'm not using it, I just rest it over my desk, so it would just kind of hit the desk and maybe it would slide off. Like that would really suck. I don't think it would on my setup, but yeah, if it somehow fractured in all four spots overnight, which I don't see happening, yeah, it's probably not going to break. But like, yeah, again, it would be breaking. That would be like where I can't catch it and I'm not working on it. Like that's what I'm worried about. Like if it just like if it did break in the middle of the night and just like fell down on the floor and then like it broke the screen or something. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, it's so far. I mean, again, I've only been using it for like 2.5, 3 weeks, but I'm not hearing any creaking or anything, and there's no cracks in it yet. Um, yeah, like I said, there's other spots. And again, I would recommend the HX over the LX. That doesn't really affect for as far as like your your third party option. It's going to be the same. Yeah, what else? Oh yeah, like if you're waiting on if you were waiting on buying this device anyway, or if you're saving up money and you're not quite there, and then you're about there, and then like maybe it's like if you can wait the extra month or two, then yeah, like maybe just wait to buy it, or you wait to buy an arm or a mount until a couple months from now when this supposed like steel one that has like whenever this one comes out, that would be fine. Like that would be a good idea. Like yeah, if you are really worried, I wouldn't blame you for not buying like a plexiglass. But yeah, I think there's a little too much fuss about some of the DIY ones, just like not like, oh, they're just going to catastrophically fail, guaranteed. Like this stuff, like the nickname for plexiglass is bulletproof glass. Like it can literally take a shot from like a standard gun and the bullet won't pass through it. Like, well, maybe not this thin, but like it regular bulletproof glass is only about twice the thickness of that. And I don't even know, like maybe even this thickness could stop a 9 millimeter bullet. I don't know, but I know it'll stop like double this thickness. It'll stop a bullet. And yeah, if it can stop a bullet, it's going to take a long time and a lot of like pressure before it starts to crack. And like it is actually it's weird because that's what I was saying, like is it fragile or not? Like it yes and no. Like again, it could take a bullet, but once it fractures, it's that once it fractures, it is like you can snap it in half with like your hands like pretty easily. But before it fractures, it's actually very flexible and very strong. I mean, that's why, again, go to Costco, Best Buy. A lot of these mounts for TVs that are a lot bigger and they're designed for TVs that are a lot bigger and heavier than a Wacom screen, and they're made out of the same material, a lot of them. So I wouldn't worry about it if you're not doing it because you're worried it's just gonna like suddenly break. Uh, I wouldn't worry about that personally, but if you're doing it because like you think that you're worried about it eventually breaking, yeah, it probably will. Like it probably over I don't know how long it'll take, maybe a year, maybe 5 years, it'll break. But like again, I would look at it as just go ahead and get one of these or like build your own now, and then in a few months when a steel one comes out, just switch to that one. Like look at it as you paid however many dollars a month it cost you to rent it, and then until you got like a better one that you own permanently. Just like look at it like that. It's it's worth it. Like unless you're like not going to use your device that much and you're just like a hobbyist, um, and you can just wait anyway. Like it's not a big deal. Like go ahead and wait. But yeah, that's my opinion. Like if you're yeah, if you're worried about like if like a child can break it or something, like again, like I would be way more worried about a child actually being around the Wacom and that breaking it, that whether no matter what setup you have, like whether he's like drawing on it with a permanent marker on the screen and wrecking it, or just like swinging on the ergotron arm, something ridiculous like that. Like that's what I would be worried about for breaking it for like a child. Like I wouldn't it, if you're like yeah like if you're like just being a protective father and you're worried about it like falling on him, yeah, that if you're really worried about that, it could. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I'm not saying it couldn't like break off and like fall on a kid, but again, I wouldn't like under a certain age, I wouldn't want like a child around this device anyway because it's so expensive and yeah, maybe you want to train your kid to draw early and that's fine. Like but if you're willing to let a child around this device, you have to be willing to no matter what setup you have to be willing to have this thing be broken or drawn on with a permanent marker or stabbed with a steak knife or something like carved in with a steak knife to have like a kid swing on the ergotron arm because it's fun and uh yeah so yeah, I don't care if you look at my video and you're like, oh, but he said this is a product and I should buy it, and if it breaks, I'll say I don't care if you break your product. It's not up to me. And yeah, if you buy a third party one, of course it's not going to be supported if this breaks. This of course a third party person's not going to pay for it. Like why would you think that? Like no one thinks that. Like you know that if you go down to someone's garage and like buy something that they're not going to pay you back if it breaks. Like yeah, so I would say go ahead and buy one of these from here or off of a forum, make your own. It's worth it to me. Like again, like just look at it as renting it and enjoy your Wacom. It's so far I've been having like a lot of fun working on it, and it's a really great product. The 24-inch Pro, and then yeah, oh yeah, and then if you have the desk space, like I think the Wacom stand is great too. Like it's the same as the old one they had for the QHD, except it can also like landscape like this. You can like landscape oriented, I mean portrait oriented if you want. Um, obviously, it's not as it doesn't have the range of motion of like this, which is that's a downside. But again, like I said, it's also it also has a less wobble than these. Like this is the stiffer, higher weight supporting arm, and it still has a little bit of wobble. Like it's not noticeable, honestly. On this version anyway, the LX is a little different, and obviously if you go something lighter than that, it's probably not acceptable at all. Like it's gonna be like it's gonna be slouching whenever you put like drawing pressure on it, like because there's other branded arms that are don't support the kind of weight that Ergotron does, and even their own they even have their own brands that have like a lighter weight. Yeah, so that's it. If thanks for watching, and if you want to look at some of the art that I've been working on with this, or if you want to check out the review I did for this, go ahead and check that out or subscribe. Thank you.